I am here today. Let me back out of this here. All right. Hi, I'm here today. We're going to discuss what to expect at your home inspection. Your offer's been accepted, and now it's time for the home inspection. And I'm here with double scope inspections today. If you guys want to introduce yourself, Mark and James.
I'm Mark. This is my twin brother, James.
Hi.
That's why we're called double scope inspections. There's two of us, and we're both licensed, so we're here to help all of your inspection needs.
Yeah, that's what I like too. You guys, they come out at the same time, so it's like two people at once doing your inspection, so it really expedites everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Cut it in half.
Yeah, so it's quick, and you guys always get the reports like back the same day. Really extensive, easy to work with software.
Our goal is to try to get the report to you within an hour.
Awesome. That's awesome. So with the home inspection, it's kind of like a good chance for the buyer to get an assessment of what to expect with their home. You're really kind of looking for like the big items, the big serious problems. You guys also cover some of the small, more like wear and tear type items too. What can a buyer expect when you have a home inspection? Like, what's kind of your process?
Well, the home inspection is always the most nerve-wracking. That's the nerve-wracking for everybody involved, the agents, the seller, the buyer. And our job is to hopefully bring everybody at ease and let everybody know what's to worry about and what's not to worry about.
Right.
And as far as a home inspection, we always go from every square inch from the roof all the way down to the foundation.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, cool. And what are some of the most common issues that you see in a home inspection? Like maybe some things that appear over and over again that a seller could maybe take care of ahead of time?
Well, a lot of times, some of the basic things are such as a dryer vent cleaning. Some of the dryer vents are up at the roof, and a lot of times those vents are clogged. And if they're clogged, that's a quick fire hazard because the lint gets clogged down the line and it gets clogged at the dryer, and that's where your fire starts. I have a guy, his name's Nate, with Nate's Vent Cleaning. He does pretty good with doing that. But some even on new builds, some of these dryer vents come with a screen put in it, and that's a no-no. That's a fire hazard. So those screens should be removed. Right. So this way the lint can blow out, the air can blow out, and all that other stuff. Another thing that we notice is some of the gutters, they're like draining right next to the house. So when the gutters are draining next to the house, all that water's going right to the foundation. And when the water's going to the foundation, that means the soil is going to move. When the soil moves, that means the foundation. So that's always a bad thing.
Right.
Those are the top two.
Yeah, that's something that a homeowner, just anyone who's not even buying and selling, those are two important maintenance type things that they can do to kind of protect their home too. So that's good to know. What are some of the other like common things a homeowner can do that will help protect their investment over the long haul?
So most people are do-it-yourselfers for the most part. So if everybody's like me, something happens in the house, let's say you notice a broken light switch or a broken outlet, or you see a crack in your foundation or something is broken. A lot of times we take note mentally, but we don't take action. Right. So then when it's time to sell, you got tons and tons of work to do, and it makes the process harder. So one of the things I suggest is if you're a homeowner, new home buyers or old home buyers, if you have a home, if you see something that needs to be done, put it on the checklist and try to finish it within 2 weeks. This way, you don't have a big pile of stuff. If you have those special projects you want to do, actually put it in the schedule and make it happen. I remember one of my houses, I had 15,000 things that I started. And then when it was time to sell, I had to finish all those projects, which was nerve-wracking.
That's overwhelming. I've been in the same situation where you wait to do all those things right before you sell, and you're like, why didn't I do this while I had the house and enjoyed it, you know? So
right.
Absolutely. Yeah, yes. For sure. Back to, you mentioned about home inspections for a new home. That's an important time to have a home inspection too, even if it's a brand new home, don't you think?
Yeah, we actually did quite a few new homes this past week, and a lot of times people think just because you have a new home, everything is perfect, and that's
Mhm.
actually not true. Because sometimes builders, they're hiring people that are ready for a job, but they're not really skilled. So there's a lot of things that happen quickly, such as a roof. The roof is good, and I'm sorry, can you hear me pretty good? Not pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
So like some of the builds, the roof is good, but sometimes the valleys are not sealed. We did this one where the exterior door, there was like four sliders together, and the sliders went into the wall, but the middle door was upside down. It was reversed. So even though the end doors could be locked, the middle door was flipped, so you can still just walk into the house. So
Yeah,
we're looking at everything that you don't notice until after you move in. And
right,
usually after you close on a new build, it's hard to get them to come back out. So there's
right.
definitely a lot of things on a brand new build that you want to check out on a home inspection before you close.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some of the other things that I wanted to talk about, homes, they vary in age, obviously, here in the area. What are some of the items that are like could be really, really expensive for someone to run into for like an old, much older home?
But we just got done doing a home actually before this conversation. It was in 1965, and it had everything wrong with it that an old home would have. And at the time, it wasn't bad, but now it is because times have changed. One of the things is the electrical panel.
Mhm.
This specific home had a Federal Pacific electrical panel, which is a safety hazard because they catch fire. And a lot of insurance companies won't even deal with Federal Pacific, which is also stat lock. And then there's Sylvania, also Challenger. So there's a few electrical panels that if you have those in the older home, you want to replace either before you sell or right after you purchase. Otherwise, insurance companies will deny you.
Right.
With the electrical panel, there's also aluminum single strand wiring.
Mhm.
Well, they used those back in the 60s, 70s, and that was okay back then. But now those get hot and they
Yeah.
melt. That's why those are a no-no as well for insurance companies. And then another thing older homes have, like 60s to 78, is cast iron plumbing for like your sewage.
Right.
And those at the time again were great, but they start deteriorating from the inside out. And if we see those on a home inspection, we always recommend a sewer scope. And what they do is they go in with the camera and they kind of check the inside of the lines to make sure the line's not disintegrating.
Mhm.
And in 1 out of 10 homes, it's about $10,000 worth of damage if they have to replace all the plumbing in the line, the plumbing under the house. So 1 in 10 usually has an issue. And the cast iron usually lasts about 20 to 40 years.
Gotcha.
So in 1965, obviously that's
It's
past due.
time. Yeah, it's time. That's a good point too. Home inspections are actually really good to do even before you list for a seller. If you know you guys can get in there and kind of take a look at things, and then gives them the opportunity to fix those items.
Correct. And we offer two different options for sellers. One, if they want a full experience of a home inspection, that means we're going to point out, like you said earlier, all the cosmetic, broken outlets, broken windows, things that they may already know, but we can give them the checklist.
Mhm.
Or we would say get a 4-point inspection. And the 4-point inspection is what insurances use to
Right.
get insurance. And that covers your four main parts. That's your roof, your electrical, your HVAC, and your plumbing. So we can cover all of those for you so there's no surprise
Mhm.
during that main inspection after you find a buyer. Because nobody wants to go through the whole process, find a buyer, go through the inspection, and then all of a sudden, oh man, the roof is shot, I need some repairs and all of that. So, and the cost for a 4-point is only $75, but it
Right.
gives both the seller agent and the seller a peace of mind so they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, yeah, those are definitely big items that when it comes to the inspection, that as a real estate professional, those would be definitely items we'd want to negotiate on if they came back not up to code or not up to par. So yeah, those are really important.
The good thing about important point is it's transferable. So let's say your seller gets to 4 point, they have a peace of mind, everything is good, they can transfer that to the buyer
Oh,
for a house that's over 25 years old. So
that's,
that'll
yeah.
save them money.
Yeah, that's fantastic because the lender will require that for sure. I'll end with that. There's some other different inspections that are required, like a wood destroying organism inspection that's usually required on like FHA loans. Walk us through like what to expect, what kind of things you're looking for they call it a WDO, but it's a wood destroying organism.
So yeah, so WDO, most of the time we hear that is termite inspection, but it's entailing more than just termites. You got different kind of beetles. There's two different kinds of termites. So what the loans that require that is only the VA loans. VA
Oh,
loans
yeah,
are
yeah,
required, WDO loans.
yeah.
But the good thing for us and our buyers is we're looking for that even if they don't pay for it.
Right.
So that's always a good thing. And we're looking for termite damage. And what happens with termites is they eat the wood from the inside out. So we're looking for soft wood and we can push on it. A lot of times in the window sills, you'll see little tiny holes. And those little tiny holes are called exit holes. That means they're going out towards the light. And sometimes you'll see like little wings in your window sill and all that. So we're looking for all the different signs. We did one house in Cocoa Beach that the whole they had a crawl space. All the floor joists underneath was chewed up by termites.
Wow.
Where a termite inspection, some of them guys don't even crawl into the crawl space, but if they didn't get the inspection, they would have bought the house and it just
Wow.
yeah. So you don't
Yeah.
want any surprises.
No, it's like a really, really small price to pay to make sure that you're not going to run into something very frustrating and expensive down the road for sure.
Right, and sometimes during termite inspections back in the day, they used to do the knock test. And the knock test, the reason they do that is because, again, they eat from the inside out. So the wood might look great, but if you push on it and you knock on it, you can hear how hollow it is. So
Oh,
with the different training, you can see and hear different signs that there's termite damage.
gotcha. That's really good to know for sure. And
And the
you're
funny thing is, sorry, the
you
funny
go
thing
first.
is, carpenter bees are not considered wood destroying organisms.
Huh.
Carpenter ants, same thing. Even though the carpenter ants eat dead wood, but carpenter bees actually destroy the wood. I feel those are
Yeah,
considered wood destroying organisms.
that's interesting.
That
But,
is interesting.
yeah, and also on top of that too, it's sometimes it's good to have that done with a concrete block home too, right? I know I think some people think that, oh, I don't have to worry about that kind of thing with a block home. But what kind of things could you see being an issue with destroying organisms?
So there's two types of termites here. You got the subterranean, which are the ones that crawl,
Mhm.
and then you got the dry wood, which fly. And they're blind for the most part. So they fly or crawl until they hit wood, and then they stay there and eat. So even though you have a black home, you still have an attic that is made of wood trusses.
Right.
So the dry wood still fly in. They can still go into your attic and eat a piece of wood and move on to the next one, and so on. So even though you have a black home, it's still good to have a termite inspection just because they're WDO, because you don't know what's going on in the attic. A lot of the newer homes are required to have a termite treatment. So a
Okay.
lot of those you're more apt to not have any termite damage, which is good. I think that's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
proactive way. And with the wood frame houses, when the ground settles, the wood moves with it.
Right.
With a block home, that's why you see a lot of crack blocks. It's
Mhm.
because when that ground moves, the concrete kind of tends to crack as well. So
Gotcha.
I know it's two different directions on that, but it's definitely good. But on the concrete houses, one of the things that we look at is what is your normal floor to crack? And that's your step crack. So you see the steps along the side of the building, which is kind of like in line with the different block
Yeah,
that
it
they
follows
built.
the pattern. Yeah.
That's normally on the mortar line.
Mhm.
that you see, that's normal. Sometimes vertical cracks going up and down, that's normal. That doesn't really alarm us. When we start getting alarmed is when you start seeing step cracks
Mhm.
both on both corners of any home. So you go to a corner of a house and you see a step crack on one side, and then you go right around the corner and there's another step crack.
Mhm.
That means all the weight is shifting on that corner. That's a bad sign.
Gotcha.
And another thing that we see is if horizontal, start seeing horizontal cracks, which is side to side,
Mhm.
that's a bad thing as well. So
Gotcha.
if you see a little bit, you kind of determine if it's just stucco damage. Black homes are stucco. So the stucco, we want to make sure it's not just a stucco, it's actually a foundational thing.
Gotcha.
So, and again, anytime you see it on a corner, going around the corner of a house, that's always a bad sign.
Okay.
If you catch it early, it'll be a cheap fix versus
Sure.
fix.
Smart. Okay. The other thing I wanted to hit on too before we wrap up, wind mitigation. Tell us a little bit about a wind mitigation inspection.
So coming from Cleveland, we did inspections up in Cleveland. I never knew what a wind mitigation was, and
Right.
a lot of times I felt that a lot of our buyers are coming from up north too, and when you talk to them about the 4 points of wind mitigation, they're like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
So wind mitigation is all of your hurricane credits, and the insurance companies are looking for different kinds of credits to give you for your insurance on your home.
Mhm.
One thing is your windows. Does your windows have glass protection? Is there protection for every piece of glass? So with insurance companies, they're all or nothing when it comes to glass. So you can have all of your glass covered with rated shutters, but you can have one, like let's say your window, that's not covered. Well, if that one piece of glass is not covered, you will not get the glass credit.
Gotcha.
So keep that in mind, all or nothing. And then another thing is your roof. We look at if your roof is tied down with straps or clips.
Mhm.
They want to see that, because if you have that, that means if a hurricane comes through, your roof is safer. And another thing is the decking that holds your roof in place, the sheathing. Are there the proper length nails, and are there enough nails? So you want to have 18 nails, which is roughly 2.5 inches. You
Right.
want those 6 inches apart, and that's up to code now. So anytime any new roofs get installed, they have to have the
Right.
18 nails 6 inches apart.
Right. And the water barrier too. That's something that you guys
Yeah,
would
the
recommend.
SWR is called. So on the that's not mandatory. So
Right.
if you want to save money on your insurance, basically when they tear off the old roof, in between the sheathing, they place SWR. So this way, if the sheathing gets blown off and it still rains, water's not getting in the house still.
Right.
So it's an extra caution. So
Right. For
that's
sure.
better.
That's good
Another way,
information for some of
yeah,
the folks that are. Go ahead.
another way you get credit too is hip roof versus gable roof. So if you have a hip roof, they consider hip. That's where all your edges point towards the ground. You have to have no more than 10% of your roof gable, and that would consider a nice credit for him. Gable roofs are more apt to wind damage. That's why you don't really get a credit for gable roofs.
Got it. It's all good information, especially that the moisture barrier with so many people still in the process of getting their roofs redone from the hailstorm that came earlier this year. It's something to keep in mind when you're, re-roofing, that you want to make sure to include that. So,
And you think that should be on all new builds too, but that's not even, again, that's not code. So that's just an option that if you get your house built to add. You froze on me, are you there?
still there? Oh, there you go. Okay.
Here I am.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, like any other inspections that you guys perform that maybe we haven't touched on?
So we do the pre-listing, the regular home, WDO. We use third parties for that. Septic inspections. A lot of times we don't do that. We prefer third party for that as well. But a lot of times people think that just because it's a newer home that has septic, that they might not need an inspection. But it's good to get a septic inspection, And if you can find a septic inspector that is like a third party, that doesn't need work, meaning if you're getting a septic inspection and you use a company that can replace the septic tank, they might say it's bad just so they can get money. So you kind of want to decipher if you can find a third party that's just doing inspections only, that is your best bet, so you know that it's good or bad.
Yeah, that could be a really costly issue down the road if you don't have that checked out for sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
And those should be cleaned out every 3 years, roughly, 2 to 3 years.
Gotcha.
Septic tanks. So those are a lot of the different inspections that's out there. But we personally do the home inspection, wind mitigation, 4-point for insurance, WDO. You could order through us as well, and then
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. It was really informative. And he's driving. Keep your eyes on the road. But thank you so much. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
Inspectors are not your enemies. We're here to help everyone involved. So it's definitely worth your investment. Our job is always to go in looking at it as if it's our own investment, and we want you to make the best decision on that as you move forward with the purchase. So I appreciate you spending your Saturday with us, and I hope we are able to answer any questions. Double scope inspections with an S.com.
That sounds great. And I'm going to include your website and contact information in the post. And yeah, definitely it's a small price to pay for peace of mind down the road. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and thanks for all your information.
Anytime.
Yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks so much.
Bye.